Well, after a 70-year hiatus, LTU football returned last season for its probationary season. The games didn't count, but the group gained invaluable experience practicing and playing together out on the field. Although today the intensity ramps up a bit with the number 5 team in the land, St. Xavier, coming to town. Jason Ross Jr. alongside Dylan Morello. Dylan, as I said, the intensity ramps up a bit. A very experienced offense, but the Blue Devil defense was certainly one of the strong suits last season.
Yeah, if all the games last season counted, Jason, LTU ranked number 1 in yards allowed per game. Also the rushing yards, only 24.2, against them last season, and only 105 yards, just total offense by opponents against our Blue Devil defense. So the LTU defense is going to be strong, especially with the addition of the man that caught the first touchdown in the modern era for the Blue Devils, Spencer Iquino, moving from wide receiver to defensive back tonight. They're going to need his veteran presence back there, Jason, because the Cougars QB, Alex Martinez, will be making a return.
Yeah, Alex Martinez is a guy who is now 11 months removed from tearing his ACL early on in last season after a promising start. Fast forward to now, he's gone through the rehab. He's back with his teammates. His coaches say he's coming off a phenomenal camp, and he is super thrilled about the group of experienced offensive linemen and talented pool of receivers that he will have to look to this afternoon. And Dylan, on the flip side of that, the inexperience is one of the higher hurdles that Coach Duvendek has talked about for his Blue Devil team. Yeah, the Blue Devils have 26 incoming freshmen right now. Jason, 23 of them, though, hail from Michigan, so they're here to the area. They know the system. The offensive line and the linebacker core for the Blue Devils got the most work. They got 8 and 7 new players, respectively, in those positions. And you're talking about inexperience, but for those incoming freshmen, they're actually coming off of MHSAA high school championships. And Coach Duvendek just said that he's excited about this incoming core. They're celebrating coming to LTU. They want to be part of the legacy, part of the program of the LTU football team. And they're just all excited. And we are very excited for this afternoon. We are proud, pleased, and privileged to be a part of college football's 150th season. The Blue Devils are back out on the field. Coming up next on the other side of the break with their first meaningful conference game since the early 40s.
You sit on the sidelines, but your heart is running across that field. His drive becomes yours, his dreams too. So when a torn ACL and concussion threaten those dreams, choose the sports medicine team that treats the whole athlete. Henry Ford Health System. We combine the most innovative technology with a personalized treatment plan so he can get back his confidence. And you can get back to being his biggest fan. Henry Ford Health System. All for you.
Today, the LTU family honors one of its own from ceremonial acquaintance. Joining Dr. Holgo is George Linsky, students and staff faculty, know George. Earlier this summer, George was selected as a Ring Star winner by Paramount, honoring exemplary service. Join us in giving George a round of applause for his dedication to our university. The captains for today's game. For Lawrence Tech, Spencer I. Quinto, Danny Mack, Tyler Polka, and Ahmad Sabah. The captains for St. Xavier are Mike Ramondo, Anthony Sorrow, Josh Hedinger, and Jarvis Carter. Lawrence Tech has won the toss and has deferred their choice until the second half.
Lawrence Tech's first meaningful conference football game since 1941. You have to go back to their successful days in the Michigan-Ontario Collegiate Conference. Fast forward to 2019, over a 70-year hiatus. Last year was the probationary season, and now they're back into some real football, welcoming in the number 5 team in the land, St. Xavier, led by head coach Mike Femenis, entering his 21st season at the helm. Dylan, it's a wonderful afternoon for some college football. Jason Ross Jr. alongside Dylan Morello, welcoming my partner Dylan. It's glad to be back with you. This is a day that we've been waiting for a while. The aroma of barbecue is in the air, the tailgates are finished, and the football is just minutes away.
No, I'm really excited for it, Jason. Like you just mentioned, the barbecue, the tailgates, the fans, just the buzz around campus, the energy and excitement. I mean, just what we tasted last year is only a small, minuscule amount for what this year is expected to be for the Blue Devils. I mean, last year's team, they set 3 LTU and LIT records. I mean, in points scored per game, 68 against Trinity Bible. That was the most in history, as well as consecutive wins with 5 and points scored per game average with 41.0. So that team had a lot of promise. Expect that same momentum this year.
Well, they're stepping into the Mid-States Football Association, known as the toughest conference in NAIA football. 4 teams ranked in the top 10, and St. Xavier is one of them at number 5 in the country. The Blue Devils won the toss and elected to receive. It's a young roster, but they are ready for this test. We're underway from Blue Devil Stadium. We're turned out just past the 25. Derek Hinton Jr., one of the freshmen on this roster that we'll get into throughout the afternoon. But right now, Tyler Kolka will lead this offense out on the field, the sophomore QB from Clinton Township, Michigan, Chippewa Valley High School. He was the starting QB for every game last season. Spoke to him a couple of days ago. He was confident. He's excited. He's a leader. He's vocal. He's energetic. And such a likable guy. Ahmad Sabah, one of his fellow captains, will be in the backfield. It's a pro-style offense led by Kolk. On the first play of the game, he's pressured immediately, having to flush out to the sideline, and he took a gain of 1.
Tough play there for the line of the Blue Devils, unable to hold back the Cougars rushing there. Kolka, tough first play of the game, but look for him to
just steady in. I mean, I'm sure there's have to be nerves here, Jason, the first game of any season. As you mentioned, he is a veteran. We got a bunch of vets here for the Blue Devils squad, but it's a big task. This is the first time they really are playing in the competitive, and it's going to be tough.
It's a tough defense that they're going up against. Plenty of returners up front for St. Xavier. They're a senior and junior laden team. This time they go to the ground, and Sabal finds a bit of a hole through the middle. One of the captains this season. He is the power back in a 3-back rotation. Last year we saw Tanner Foley at that starting running back position most of the time. That'll set up 3rd and manageable for Kolka in this Blue Devil offense.
Yeah, Foley led last year with yards per game, averaging 62.6. Sabah right below him, but 32.9, so maybe a switch of roles here this season. They just have to see what the defense is going on and which player they choose there to pick through it.
They go back to Sabal, and he gets stacked up running into a crowded box on 3rd and 3. That'll set up the first 4th down and a quick 3-and-out forced by that St. Xavier defense. It's anchored by Dmitry Milutinovic and middle linebacker Josh Hediger. A couple of seniors. They're off to an auspicious start.
Now with the Blue Devils won it right away, a quick 3-and-out. I mean, they got in 2 good run plays. The first one, as we saw Kolka unable to get it off. A little switch around here by the Cougars.
Back to punt here for the Blue Devils is Michael Fox. And returning this up the middle for the Cougars is Miriat, and he's taken down hard at the 40. Now comes out Alex Martinez, the quarterback, the senior, making his return after missing the last 11 months with an ACL injury. Tore his ACL early on in last year. Missed the final 8 games of the season and said, naturally, that was a dark time, but you wonder what his butterflies were like last night. He said it was the longest offseason I've ever been through. But he's back. His coaches say he had a phenomenal camp. Burbank, Illinois native. They'll start out in the shotgun. It's a pass-heavy offense, but they go to the ground on the first run of the game, and it's a big burst here for Vance McShane. Galloping down the sideline for the first St. Xavier touchdown of 2019. It's a 60-yard burst from the sophomore coming off a special season a year ago as a freshman. Took the starting job and literally and figuratively running away with it on the opening possession of the game there. It's 6-0 St. Xavier.
Tough play there by the Blue Devils, but I look to see if that deflated their sails. I mean, it's the first possession really of the game, and the Cougars take full advantage. I don't know if the Blue Devils came out a little bit flat-footed there, or the Cougars saw something they didn't, but the Blue Devils had a big hole, and they're going to put it through the uprights here, making it 7-0 right away and early. And Jason, how do you expect, the Blue Devils to respond here after that one?
Well, Dylan, it's a young defense. Kind of on the flip side of the St. Xavier team, where experience and confidence are probably the words that epitomize the Cougars the most. It's a retooled defense for the Blue Devils. We'll get into that throughout the afternoon, but they're trying to make up for some pieces that they lost from last season. And early on, just a couple of minutes in, Vance McShane takes advantage.
Now the 22 defenders back there, 10 of them are freshmen, so definitely a young core. But the Blue Devils, especially the sophomores, juniors, they're going to have to rally around those young guys and hopefully push through here. It's early in the game, though. The tough first play, I'm sure the Jers had to do something with that. These coaches watch film so much. They prepare all week. We saw in the practice report just a couple of the players mentioning just how they were practicing and preparing for this squad. Not only the game itself, but seeing the opponent you're going to be up against. And just right there, just a bad read on the first one.
Back to receive here is Derek Hinton Jr. Set to kick off for this St. Xavier group is Mike Iturbe. Sophomore kicker from Palos Heights, Illinois. It's about a 4-hour trip up from Chicago for the St. Xavier team. Hinton Jr., he's a promising freshman, but gets strapped down just outside of his own 20-yard line there by the Blue, and that's where the Blue Devils will set up.
Yeah, Hinton Jr., 5'10", 170, quick on his feet, light-footed. Back there, try to get past, but starting deep in their own end here, the Blue Devils are going to have a lot of field and ground to cover to try to even up this score.
Brings C.J. Thompson in motion. The new tight end Chris McCoy in there as well. Sabal is engulfed after a gain of 2. Ahmad Sabal, the 5'9" running back from Dearborn Heights. Once again, he's the power back in the rotation. He's kind of a second or third back last year. You had Makai Otero mixing in there along with Tanner Foley, but it'll be interesting to see a multitude of things, just who they're playing at running back, who the receivers are. The offensive line is probably where you're seeing the most returners from what it looked like last year. So that's a positive, running behind an experienced offensive line, but down 7 early. Kolka lets it go down the sideline, and intentions there for Kender Williams, the Florida native, but out of his reach.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. You have to look at here in these games, just if the Blue Devils offense could lead them to victories while, not having the defense be as strong as we've seen in prior games. But if the Blue Devils offense could connect here early and often, you could win games sometimes just by outscoring, and that's what they might have to do here this season.
They responded pretty well for a young team a season ago. Kolka pressured and hit as he let that ball go. Sabal picks it up. They're going to rule that as a fumble. They didn't say it was a forward pass, so this offense still trying to figure things out early. Offensive coordinator Keith Beckham back for his second season, facing a really good defensive coordinator in Bill McEwen going into his 4th. This coaching staff has been together for what feels like forever. Head coach Mike Jimenez in his 21st season. It's the offense for St. Xavier getting set to go back out under their experienced offensive coordinator Mark Yanule. This ball is going to hop in favor of the Cougars, and the Blue Devils just need to pounce on that at their own 31. So plus territory advantage for the Cougars with still 10:45 to go in the first and up 7.
Yeah, you mentioned the coaching staff of the Cougars. I mean, you don't win 2 straight Mid-State Football Association championships without a good staff and without good players who buy into the system. So right now the Blue Devils are getting a taste of that. They're going to have to batten down the hatches here, figure something out early, as once again don't have favorable field position to go on the defensive side.
They are the back-to-back conference champs. Last season was very compelling. Got off to an 0-2 start. Couple of embarrassing losses, but they really bounced back under the message of this coaching staff. Ended up winning 9 of their next 10 games, and for the first time in program history have won back-to-back conference champions. And they're in the Midwest League. The Blue Devils are in the Mid-East. It's the equivalent of, for all you Big Ten fans out there, the Big Ten East and the Big Ten West. And they are the favorites to take the Midwest League this season. So they're going to re-kick this. I think there was a flag down. Falls into the hands of Jair Merrick. Looking to get the edge. Merrick will gazelle out of bounds just inside the Blue Devil 40.
Merrick on the return. There is a flag on the play.
We have another flag down. This one down at the Blue Devil 34.
Yeah, lucky for the Blue Devils there as Merrick. He's light on his foot as well, bursting with speed. Unable to get a hand on him, luckily pushed him to the outside.
That flag was on Lawrence Tech. See if they advance the chains here. They will, so St. Xavier is going to get 15 yards extra here. They go all the way down to the Lawrence Tech 25. So setting up just outside of the red zone, and early on it feels big for Lawrence Tech to at least hold them to a field goal here. Out of the 4 receiver set, they go to their hot running back, Vance McShane, spiraling his way for a good chunk on first down.
If the Blue Devils get a stop here, that'll be very big for the momentum and just pushing back, because right now everything is in the Cougars' favor. They've silenced the crowd a little bit here early on. Besides for the student section here at our left, still rowdy, trying to boost the Blue Devils' morale.
Stallone backfield for Martinez, fires over the middle and finds his man on the play. It's Riddle down at the 85, down at the 11-yard line.
Yeah, Martinez ranks 6th all-time in Cougars pass completions. With that one added on, 393 in his career. As we have someone down on the field now.
It's a Blue Devil player. And we'll take a quick breather during this injury look. Appears to be.
So you want to work out, and you're curious about supplements, but don't know where to start. All you have to do is, oh, you're already done. With the Benefit Box, you get full-size supplements customized to you and tailored to your fitness goals. With easy-to-use instructions delivered right to your front door. Visit www.thebenefitbox.com to get started on building your box and you today.
You sit on the sidelines, but your heart is running across that field. His drive becomes yours, his dreams too. So when a torn ACL and concussion threaten those dreams, choose the sports medicine team that treats the whole athlete. Henry Ford Health System. We combine the most innovative technology with a personalized treatment plan so he can get back his confidence. And you can get back to being his biggest fan. Henry Ford Health System. All for you.
Time now for a look inside Lawrence Technological University. And did you know LTU partners up with several Michigan high schools to advance education and give kids a leg up when it comes to preparing better for college? Lawrence Tech and West Bloomfield High School recently celebrated the opening of the high school's Tech Hub space. This is just one of the collaborations between LTU and West Bloomfield High School. Dual enrollment classes, internships, summer training sessions, as well as special programs.
Welcome back to LTSN. That was Nick Ryan down in the last play. Martinez goes to the air out of the reach of his intended receiver there, Chris Simmons, one of 4 senior receivers for this St. Xavier group.
Simmons got tied up there on the outside, just unable to complete his route, come back. The ball was a little bit behind him. He tried to stretch forward, unable to connect. Second down now.
There's a 60-yard burst from Vance McShane. That's the difference right now. This time they fake it to him and go to the outside once again. It's Pringle. He gets the Cougars down to the 5-yard line. It's about a yard shy of the sticks.
Yeah, good play there by Grobel as he kept him down, wouldn't let him gain the extra inch. So the Blue Devils have a chance.
And the Cougars are into the end zone. On a quick handoff, that time to Vance McShane. Steps in for his second touchdown of the afternoon, and it's 13-zip early on in the first in favor of the Cougars. And Dylan, right now for a young group on the Blue Devils side of things, you wonder about their emotions. I guess those conversations when you get down early, what are they like on the sidelines?
Yeah, it's going to be tough for them, especially just like we mentioned in the beginning of this, just the buzz around it. You know, you don't want to disappoint the fans, but you don't want to disappoint yourselves as well. It's all about pride here. In this league as well, it's unforgiving. It's going to challenge you on and off the field. Right now, the Blue Devils, they're experiencing some adversity. But, Jason, it's in the first game of the season. So, I mean, they're going to improve on it. I mean, right now, you're only down by 2 touchdowns. It's still the first quarter. So, nothing to be really worried about. They just got to plug in and figure out a way to get past offensively. I mean, they're realizing right now why the Cougars went undefeated in the Midwest League for the second year in a row last season.
Back-to-back 5-0 years in the Mid-States Football Association for this Cougar group. We didn't expect anything less than an energetic start from them coming into this one. And, you know, head coach Mike Jimenez about that number 5 ranking said, the ranking is nice for our fans and people who follow the program, but they are largely reflected on the year before. So it's all about handling the business that's in front of you for head coach Mike Jimenez and company. They have their starting quarterback, Alex Martinez, back out onto the field after missing 11 months. He looks comfortable in the early goings. Vance McShane has certainly helped out with that. It's been a balanced attack so far. Last year they threw the ball about 74% of the time. But we're seeing the ground game as a real emphasis, and they're finding holes in the Blue Devil defensive line to begin this one. Once again, back to return is Hinton. A young, excited freshman, once again, just gets to his own 20, and that's where Tyler Kolka will strut out again once more.
It's tough when your offense has to start off from such backfield. You got to go 80 yards now, and with the Blue Devils, I mean, not even being able to get a first down yet in this game, it's going to be a tough task. The Cougars defense ranked 34th in the NAIA last season and only held teams at 357 yards a game. So very tough defensive line, and it's going to be a challenge.
The Blue Devils have Wisconsin Lutheran here next week, seeing that they beat last season in comeback fashion. They trailed 22-3 in that one. That'll be a noon kickoff next Saturday. Right now, the task at hand is trying to figure out how to get a first down. Once again, on first down, they go to the ground, and it's Ahmad Sabah.
Sabah is going to be used heavily in this game, but you got to watch out. He's taking some big hits there. Might wear down later on. But good gain of, it looks, 5. So Blue Devils trying to push up field here slowly but steadily. Don't really have to do any big passes or big plays, but just move it up the field, gain some confidence, gain some traction here, and let your offense do their magic.
Just 2 receivers in this formation. On 2nd and 5. They go back to the ground, but that time the Cougars were ready for it. Leading the way that time, Josh Hediger, along with Joey Markosevich, brother of Mike Markosevich, a wide receiver for this St. Xavier team. That brings up 3rd and 3. What feels like a big one early to get some momentum brewing for Lawrence Tech. Kolka with a relatively clean pocket. He finds Kendall Williams coming back to the football. The Florida native makes his first reception of the year, and it's a big one on 3rd down as they get up to their own 37.
That's exactly what the Blue Devils needed. You saw after that pass and completion, the Blue Devil sideline getting rambunctious, the crowd as well. That's what you need, just a little bit of energy, a little bit of spark to light that fire that could hopefully bring them back in this game.
Kendall Williams is from Lantana, Florida. This is a Floridian-filled team. Wish our best to his family. There was quite a bit of flooding in Lantana due to Hurricane Dorian. He's a really good young kid. This time Kolka rolling with time, but this will be essentially a coverage sack as Kolka is able to leap and gain a couple of yards on first down, but well covered as he was looking down the middle.
Love having a QB like that. Kolka head up, reads the play. I mean, he doesn't see an option. He's not going to be afraid here, Jason, to run the ball himself if he has to and gain some yards for his team.
Almost halfway through this first quarter of play, on the first possession of the game, it was a 60-yard Vance McShane run for the Cougars. It was followed up by his second touchdown after excellent field position. But the Blue Devils off their first down of the game. Sabaw showing off his power and motoring his way for a first down. That's why he's the starting back this year, along with his leadership skills, his confidence. He can lower the boom when he wants to.
Yeah, he's a big body, and you love to see it. Finally, the running game pays off for the Blue Devils. They just got that pass. Now they're getting the run heating up. That's what you want to see here.
Using all 180 pounds there. He's kind of diminutive in stature, but he packs a punch.
Yeah, big punch. He was tied for first last year as well in touchdowns with 4. So you know he could punch it in whenever he needs to.
Now it's Makai Otero in at running back. He had a big summer, put in a lot of work. There's a flag down behind the 50-yard line. And the St. Xavier players think that the Blue Devils are going to lose some yardage here.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Otero was the other one tied for touchdowns with 4 as well. So a big boost if they could get him going.
Now we see Tanner Foley make his way into the game. Looks like it is going to be a loss of 5 here to set up 1st and 15 from their own 47-yard line. Tanner Foley, the aforementioned running back, they're going to the 3 rotation early. He got the most reps last year at a running back. We've seen Sabaw and Otero, a mix of receivers in early. It's a pro-style offense mentality in the early goings for Lawrence Tech, as Kolka gets the signal from Keith Beckham. It was an 8-yard gain to set up now 2nd and 7. From the St. Xavier 44, that clipped off the hands of C.J. Thompson, kind of a dangerous ricochet, but it falls to the turf. And that'll bring up 3rd and 7 for Lawrence Tech.
Kolka took a big hit in the backfield there, trying to shake it off. It's going to be 3rd down now. Foley did a good job, though, of erasing that flag yardage that was added on. So now a big 3rd down. Let's see if the Blue Devils could keep the chains moving here on this drive.
3rd and long isn't where you want to make your living against this St. Xavier defense. Line up in the shotgun. From the Xavier 45, it's C.J. Thompson, a player that Blue Devil fans are excited about. Their big target at tight end. He has the perfect frame for that position at about 6'4", 210, native of Alma, Michigan. Looked really good in preseason camp.
Yeah, big body but soft hands there. Beautiful catch and run. And the Blue Devils are turning up the heat.
Tight end is an important position in this offense. We had practice about a week and a half ago, and C.J. Thompson was walking around. He just has a presence about him when he's maneuvering his way around, and the players really do respect him. They try to establish the passing game with the run. There's a big emphasis on the line of scrimmage in the mind of Coach Duvendek. They want to win that battle and do it early. And right now, as expected, it's a methodical drive, kind of progressing here after a slow start that finds themselves down 14. But they got a little something building here.
No, that's exactly what you need to do here. It gives your defense time, too, to rest up. I mean, they haven't been on the field too long as the Cougars scored pretty fast, but not even just rest. But you see them huddled right now talking about a game plan, what they got to do on the next possession by the Cougars, and it's good to see you like your offense when they're being hot.
Kolka back to the air, but under pressure. Has to stay composed, and that's picked off. It is Robbie Block, and he will gallop just inside of Blue Devil territory. Kevin Block, the junior defensive back. Kolka was under pressure. Had to make the tackle. And the frustrating start continues for Lawrence Tech after it appeared they were building up some momentum.
Yeah, that's a heartbreaker there. You're driving down the field, getting good plays, getting the chemistry going, getting everybody a touch of the ball, running and passing game was going good. And then he throws that interception. He has to make the tackle himself. That's tough.
They go back to McShane, and he has a gaping hole, lowers the shoulder, and gets down to the Lawrence Tech 31.
Tough there as Grobel was the one that got rocked down. Still able to make the tackle, though.
So Lawrence Tech, after struggling in their first couple of possessions, they get down inside of the Xavier 40. But then the interception, and now all of a sudden, more excellent field position for the Cougars. McShane looking for the edge. Vance McShane once again taking a bump but getting right back up. He is bouncing around early and down to the Blue Devil 18.
Yeah, a little jumping jack there, burst of energy, helps him drive down the field. I mean, he's taking these hits and he's getting right back up right in the play.
They go back to the ground. Jamari Watson to the 11.
Martinez hasn't thrown too much yet this game. Haven't seen the use of his arm or the prowess that he just shows on his roster.
Watson again. It's easy pickings right now. Might have got just to the sticks there. Might be about a half yard short. Under 2 minutes to go now in the opening quarter of play.
If they say the running game open, though, there's really no need for him to make some passes. I mean, the Blue Devils haven't been able to stop it yet, so expect them to keep going to it.
That was on about third and half a yard. And I think he might be just short. DeMarcus Bush on the tackle. One of the sophomores on that defensive line that is retooled. And early on, head coach Mike Jimenez is going to get aggressive. On 4th and 1, they're looking to add to this lead. The Blue Devil faithful urging on their defense in a big spot. Watson gets the first down and gets to about the 2-yard line.
Tough there. Would have been a great stop. The Blue Devils could have held him off on 4th down, but with the way the running game has been going, that's a tough task. Blue Devils, that young defensive core being exposed so far early on in this one.
They get one of their better pushes in the early goings there. But up front for St. Xavier, Bruce Mesa, Reed Adams, and Michael Rubando, all seniors. And they are leading the way early on for this running game. On the sidelines, Tyler Kolka trying to get his guys pumped up, talking to the receivers. They had one Mid-States Football Association opponent last year, and that was Indiana Wesleyan. It was an energetic game here where they were able to manage a comeback And there, once again, one of their better pushes. And the Blue Devil faithful gets into it. Looks like a loss of 4. And that'll do it for the opening quarter of play. It'll be 3rd and goal when we come back. St. Xavier up 14-0 after 1 quarter of play. The running game is really powering in the early goings of this 2019 season for the Cougars. We'll see you back on the other side of the break. You're watching Lawrence Tech football on LTSN.
LTU dance team.
Welcome back to LTSN. 3rd and goal. Ball on the 3. The Cougars trying to punch it in and potentially go up by 3 scores. Over the middle, and it's another touchdown for St. Xavier. Harold Davis, the senior target for Alex Martinez, the senior-to-senior connection. Those two have been together for 4 years, and Davis is a guy that we haven't talked about much yet because they haven't gone to the air much yet. But it's a 20-0 lead now after that first touchdown pass of the season for Alex Martinez.
Yeah, you could see the confidence and chemistry between those two right there as Davis just easily knows his route, got in, and pretty much no pressure against him. Martinez just finds and rips the bullet right into his breadbasket.
Well, for Lawrence Tech, it's a group of players only in their 2nd year together. Head coach Jeff Duvendeck said that one of our highest hurdles to get over will be the inexperience. The question now, how does that inexperience fare down 21-0 to the number 5 team in the land that's proving why they are a top 5 opponent? One of 4 MSFA teams ranked in the top 10. Now the Blue Devils find themselves in a stage where they want to remain composed, but the scoreboard, Dylan, it's challenging to look up at that and keep that mentality tough in the early goings.
It is challenging, but you just mentioned that the coach wanted his team to not be too inexperienced. The only way to get out of that is to get experience, and this game is going to be one of those learning points, learning curves, if you will, that their team is going to go up against. The Blue Devils here, I mean, you do look up at the scoreboard, 21-0 right now. I mean, there's a lot of time still left in this game. You get a couple stops, get a touchdown here in this next drive. You know, it just changes the complexity and on the bench as well. So the Blue Devils can do it. I mean, the inexperience, I mean, you could use that as an excuse, but for me, just from an athletic standpoint, you never want to have that in the back of your mind. You're always ready to compete and play hard.
Micah Turbay just kicks that one out of the end zone. It'll be a touchback, bringing things out to the 25 for Tyler Kolka and his group. We saw him during that last sequence trying to get his guys motivated. The last drive was very promising, but an interception from Kevin Block, the junior defensive back, one of the best defensive backs in the country, wrapped it up earlier than they wanted to. It was a methodical drive, and that's what we'll see from this offense. They try to establish it with the ground game again, but Sabal is wrapped up by that push from Dmitry Maluninovic, the 6'2 senior from Northbrook, Illinois, coming off an excellent junior year. He was actually playing on the O-line through his first 2 seasons. Last year made the adjustment. So a young Blue Devil defense on the other side getting tested early, and now Blue Devil offensive line trying to hold up against an experienced defense for St. Xavier. Another single setback formation. Kolka to the air, over the middle. Has one of his new targets, Josiah Curry Fulham. That's Nick Spawn, rather, who gets stuck after a gain of a few yards.
Yeah, good pass there, but focusing a little bit too much on the ball. And just coming from the outside of the blind side there. Hediger with a rocket of a hit. Blue Devils, though, to start this drive, best field position. Haven't really made it past or just on the 20 in the prior kickoffs. That touchback gives them a little extra yard here to work with.
Golka steps up, gets hit, floats it for Williams. He has his man, and it's the biggest play for the Blue Devils so far. Galloping down the sideline, flags are down. Williams is into the end zone. We'll see what these flags determine. If it stands, it would be a 73-yard pitch and catch.
It may be an illegal block here, and also there's another flag thrown on the sideline. Jason, one of the coaching staff for the Blue Devils, yelling adamantly at the ref here. So there may be more than just what happened on the field, the sideline. Maybe getting some more yards taken away.
Frustration maybe setting in here. Tyler Kolka to Kendall Williams. That's a duo that the Blue Devils hope to see connect with plays just like that throughout the season. Appeared as though it was going to be their first big play, but now it's coming back. Still awaiting the call. It's a wonderful turnout for this first game of the season for Lawrence Tech. Nice to see the newly renovated Blue Devil Stadium packed. This is a part of the process for Blue Devil football and the rest of Lawrence Tech athletics. Newly installed 4,000 seat grandstand on the west side of the stadium. Blue Devil fans are very upset with this one. We can't hear the call. A blindside block is what it appears to be. And an unsportsmanlike conduct call. So Dylan, that talking that you mentioned from the sidelines might have cost them as well. It is a personal foul for an illegal block, and then the unsportsmanlike conduct will take this one back, negating what would have been a 78-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah, that's why I thought it looked like a little bit of a stir up there on the sideline, but don't know why the flag was thrown pretty quickly there. It must have been some heated words, as I mean, everybody was, after that play, everybody was a little bit riled up. You would expect that here. The Blue Devils are down by 3 touchdowns, and you would expect them after a big play not to be riled up if it's not going to count. And the ref quick to draw the flag there. It's going to cost the Blue Devils a little more than they wanted.
Lawrence Tech's first conference game in the Mid-States Football Association. They're learning how it's going to be early in this tough conference, but Tanner Foley, he's a tough runner, and he gets ahead for 9 there on first down to set up 2nd and 1, just inside the 50.
Yeah, big run for Foley. He was their strong suit last season. I mean, averaging 62.6 yards a game. This game he's been pretty quiet. Hopefully use him a little bit more.
Interesting decision here. They've been going to the ground game, but this is a spot where the playbook really opens up. It's a screen pass, but a flag down as he finds James Cartwright III, 5'8" receiver from Oakland Park, Florida. One of the guys who will have a significantly elevated role in the offense this year. See if his yardage that he gained there, what would be first down yardage, will stand, or will there be another penalty on this drive? This was one of the subjects last year where Lawrence Tech really struggled in a year where they put up a lot of points, but discipline was a factor that really hurt them. It's an illegal procedure on the Lawrence Tech offense. It's going to set them back again here.
Yeah, not only discipline, but just plays like that, the misconducts, the last flag as well. It's some things that are avoidable calls, and right now the Blue Devils aren't able to avoid them.
Kolka looking for C.J. Thompson, dangerously sailed over the intended target's hands. He had some space there. Kolka was pressured.
Yeah, Kevin Block there just tripped up. Could have been an easy interception once again. Would have been the second of the evening for the Cougars. Third and 6 now.
Few minutes into the second quarter, already a 21-0 lead for St. Xavier. Kolka pumps, gets hit, launches for Williams. It's Kevin Block again, his second interception of the day. I don't know how much longer they want to throw his way, Dylan. He's their shutdown corner. Showed his potential as a freshman, but really burst onto the scene last year. Just read Kolka's eyes there. Tyler Kolka kind of struggled with interceptions in that one Mid-States Football Association game last year against Indiana Wesleyan. Threw 3 interceptions, 2 in the early goings, and both on drives where momentum was kind of building up a bit.
Yeah, maybe, I mean, with those plays, the momentum, he has to do a lot of reps. I mean, they've been keeping it to the ground, but when he does have to throw, Jason, he has a bunch of bodies, a bunch of pressure. I mean, he got hit from behind when that was released. I mean, I might have spoke too soon because I just said about number 21, and he intercepts it again.
Martinez to the air, finds Krzyzewski. Picking his way patiently for a really nice first down gain. Nick Krzyzewski, another senior receiver. All-league second team last season. He's got a litany of targets to go to, and that was one of the points that he said he was really excited about, Martinez did, and when he was interviewed at camp. Once again, coming back from that ACL injury a season ago, went through the rehab in the cold months of January and February, back out on the field, and he looks comfortable, and the receivers look good there. That time it's the running back, Vance McShane, out of the backfield. He's off to an auspicious start to his sophomore campaign.
The Cougars just have a really, really solid offensive attack led by a lot of older players, experienced players, and especially with a QB like that leading them.
This time it's Krzyzewski down inside the Blue Devil 30 and all the way to the 21.
Good play by the Blue Devils, at least to track him down. Didn't want to give up a touchdown like that.
It's a gain of 38. And plenty of time left in this opening half. Martinez in a rhythm now. They go to the ground. The sophomore back, Vance McShane, finds 3 yards. Ball now at the 23. It was an 0-2 start for this Xavier group a season ago. They finished 9-4, won 9 of their final 10 games. 5-0 in the league for the second consecutive year. They are the back-to-back outright Mid-States Football Association champs. The Blue Devils able to get some pressure in the backfield that time. DeMarcus Bush leading the way. A big kid, had a class with him last year. If he can use his power, the Burton, Michigan native, he could cause some disruptions for quarterbacks this season. And they need it here as the Cougars are once again cracking on the red zone door.
Another flag on that play as well. Looks to be against the Cougars, so they'll step back a little bit.
Illegal participation. 12 men on the field against St. Xavier.
Seems to be 12 man on the field there. So once again, avoidable calls, this time though going the other way.
Penalty negated what would have been a 78-yard touchdown for Lawrence Tech. Martinez looking down the middle, and once again has his man. It's Riddle for his second touchdown of the game.
Wow, a beautiful pass there. Didn't even have to put too much oomph in it. Easily over the top of everybody. His vision is just so spectacular. You know, reading about him, you want to see it on the field, but now actually seeing it in person here, Jason, it's a sight.
Justin Pringle, just a freshman. He's really impressed this coaching staff through preseason camp. And his career is off to an excellent start. We'll make it 28-0, the first half lead now for St. Xavier.
Colca will have another go at it here. Already 2 interceptions, both of them by Kevin Block. And we mentioned just before, he pretty much has to start passing away from him as he's been able to read Colca pretty much all evening. And that's not going to be a recipe for success throwing in his territory.
It's a beautiful day in Southfield, about a 70-degree day, picture perfect. Couldn't ask for better weather, not too hot, not too cold. Again, next Saturday is a noon kickoff right here on LTSN against Wisconsin Lutheran. St. Xavier is set to head back home next week for what should be a rocking atmosphere in Chicago. They'll take on Wisconsin Whitewater in week 2. Derek Hinton again back to return here, and Micah Turbe will kick things off for the Cougars. That one dropped out just prior to the pylon, so the Blue Devils will get some extra yardage here.
Yeah, that's what you need. A couple lucky bounces here or there. Get some ball luck. The Blue Devils really haven't had it too much this game so far, but they got to use it. They got to capitalize on any advantage you can against a strong team like the Cougars. Any little thing, any extra yard, it all matters. It all counts. You don't want to get the score too far away from you. At least get one. I think that's the goal right now. Get one before the half.
Plenty of time to do that. 10:26 to go in this opening half. Feels like it's all about mindset right now for the Blue Devils, trying to finish out this first half after another touchdown connection between Martinez and Pringle. Sabal loses his helmet on that first down carry, just getting back to the line of scrimmage. So he'll have to come out for a play, and Makai Otero replaces him.
One bright spot for the Blue Devils is Sabah running pretty well here tonight, showing his confidence and presence just on that offense for the Blue Devils.
from their own 37. It's a different feeling than last year's opener for Lawrence Tech, but Makai Otero, who we mentioned had a really good summer coming into the season, will pick up a first down there as he checks into the game. Otero did a lot of work in the weight room, did a lot of really cool sand work, developing his lower body strength, a lot of lateral footwork. He comes back out and Foley checks in, so really working the running back rotation in the early goings. A lot of hill work as well for Otero. Really cool guy with a lot of neat, wide-ranging interests. This time in the offset eye look. Kolka hands off to Foley. More of the finesse back in the rotation, and he gets to the 49.
It's nice when you do have a lot of running backs that could just interchange pretty well and fit whatever play they have to do. Foley, Otero, Sabah, they've all had pretty strong games so far, just haven't able to punch it into the end zone.
Kendall Williams at the bottom of your screen on second and manageable, but they go back to Foley. It's a ground-heavy attack in this first half for Lawrence Tech, trying to establish the line of scrimmage, but for the majority of the time, St. Xavier has read it well with that experienced D-line.
Yeah, their defensive line is so good, and the Blue Devils know that, but they also know on the backside of that, too, they got players who can read the play well, knock the ball out of the hands of the wide receivers. Interceptions already 2 here tonight, so maybe a little bit timid trying to get to the passing game.
They go to the ground on third down, and Foley trying to rip his way free. I think the ball might have scored it out. Ball security was an issue for Tanner Foley last season. He had 4 fumbles. This will stay with Lawrence Tech.
Yeah, first down here. Foley hangs on to it and gains the first. Ball definitely came loose, though.
Yeah, they're going to say it did come loose, and it was a fumble. Xavier players were in there. Once again, adding to that category of discipline. That was one of the problems with Lawrence Tech last year. One of the ways they'll look to improve this season, so it'll be interesting to see as things develop. They're missing Logan Reindress up front, an undisclosed injury, not in pads today. But a first down inside of the Xavier 50 for Kolka. Once again to the ground, this time to Sabah, one of the captains this year. Nick Spawn comes back in. A guy who in LTU's worst loss last year against Northern Michigan, where they gave up 60-plus points, he really showed his personality and his perseverance. A game where he caught for over 140 yards. A guy whose name we haven't called much yet. We'll see if they try to go to him here. You have their most prolific receivers both lined up on the near side, bottom of your screen, Spawn and Williams. Kolka looks that way, has Williams, but a promptly timed conversion from Block, who is continuing to have an excellent afternoon.
Once again, passing into his vicinity isn't going to be a good target at all, as you saw Block and 2 other white jerseys just converge right away.
Looked like he had him, but Kevin Block, read it all the way. That sets up 3rd and 7. What feels like a big 3rd and long. Once again, not the secondary that you want to try to live against on 3rd and long. Kolka, this time looking over the middle. It's Thompson, but he's going to be well short of a first down. That time really didn't even look the way of Block. Had Spawn against Block. Block will typically go up against the opposing team's best receiver. We saw it again there, setting up 4th and 7. We'll see what they go to here early. It is the offense staying out, Dylan. Nothing to lose here.
Yeah, good call. I mean, like I said, they're trying to get 1 before the end of the end of the quarter here before halftime. I mean, that's the goal. Get one, get the fans engaged. You don't want to have that 0 spot up there going into the locker room. Have something positive to talk about. And right here, if they get it on this 4th down conversion, that'll be something.
Well, the Cougars are already 1 for 1 on 4th down. There's a snap that was low. Kolka pounces on it, but back at his own 45, and that is where Martinez and the Cougars will take over.
I mentioned ball bounces. That's one that you don't want, and not something good there. They tried to go for it on 4th and long, and just does not work the way you want it. Cougars gain more yard and good field position from it.
St. Xavier ended last season first round's upset over Marion in the NAIA Championship Series. In other words, the playoffs. Martinez goes to the air again, as a man again. Chris Simmons for the second time, shedding a tackle from C.J. Miles and getting down to the 31. It's a 14-yard first down gain. We mentioned just how compelling the St. Xavier season was last year as they attempt to speed up the tempo a bit for the first time today. Really mixing in all the categories in this offense, and they were actually blown out by Marion early on last season, but ended up beating them nearly 2 months later.
Number 2, Jeremiah on the carry.
It was a 52-7 loss to Marion to begin last season for St. Xavier. But as I mentioned, nearly 2 months later, found a way to beat them 34-21 in the first round of the playoffs after that shellacking. And now they find themselves in the opposite end of the script to begin this year. A tunnel screen for Simmons, and he gets down to the 11. They are moving, flowing in a concise and comprised fashion early goings.
Simmons a target here for Martinez's arm and doing well. Couple stiff arms getting past the Blue Devils. He's shedding that first tackle, and that's allowing him to get some extra yardage on the run.
Martinez, he'll hand it off this time to Vance McShane, who's already punched it in twice, including a 60-yard touchdown run earlier in this one. Daniel Max made the tackle. He's one of the guys, a linebacker in that Blue Devil corps, 6 feet tall from a small school, Lutheran Northwest High School, but one of the most energetic guys out there, trying to find a way to get a stop here. Martinez looked over the middle. He'll check it down to his running back, Vance McShane. Gain of a few there on 2nd and 9. They still need the Blue Devil 3 for a first down as they look to eclipse the 30 mark in this opening half.
Third down and 7.
It's 3rd and 7 for Martinez. A dart broken up by C.J. Miles. Pass was intended for the hot target Simmons, but Miles able to atone for that past missed tackle. 3:49 left on the second quarter clock.
Yeah, that's exactly what the Blue Devils needed. A young there gets a hand on the ball, and they're going to need a big stop, and they got it. So holding the Cougars off now to only, if he gets it here, a field goal.
Sets up the reliable field goal taker Mike Iturbe. Did well as a freshman a season ago. Splits the uprights on his first attempt of 2019, and the Cougars eclipse the 30 mark for the first time in this season. 31-0 with 3:45 to go in the opening half of play. Send you to a quick breather on LTSN. We'll be back momentarily.
You sit on the sidelines, but your heart is running across that field. His drive becomes yours, his dreams too. So when a torn ACL and concussion threaten those dreams, choose the sports medicine team that treats the whole athlete. Henry Ford Health System. We combine the most innovative technology with a personalized treatment plan so he can get back his confidence. And you can get back to being his biggest fan. Henry Ford Health System, all for you.
Welcome back to LTSN. Aturbe after kicking one through the uprights for the first time this season. Xavier now up 31-0. Couldn't ask for a better start. Everything going their way from the get-go. On their first possession of the game, a 60-yard run from McShane. Following possession, excellent field position. They would punch it in again. Martinez returning after tearing his ACL last year. It was really a season of perseverance for the Cougars after that injury a season ago. Now he's back, looks comfortable. He's gradually gotten into a better rhythm with his teammates. This one bounces in front of Hinton and then lands in the hands of Fulham. Looks like they got a fair catch prior to that ball hopping. So they'll bring it down to the, looks like the 14 is where they're going to spot it for the Blue Devils.
A lot of ground once again to cover here for Kolka. They're trying to discuss right now where the ball will be placed. But the Blue Devils got some time here. 3:43 left before halftime. Once again, the goal is just points on the board. Don't want to have that zero spot. Something positive to talk about. I mean, the Blue Devils have been going to the run a lot. I think this drive, though, try to mix it up a little bit. I mean, once the Cougars find a rhythm defensively, they're going to be able to stop that run pretty easily.
Looks like they will bring it out to the 13. 3:43 to go in the second. Trying to engineer what would essentially be a 2-minute drill. Kolka to the air. Over the middle. Blue Devils wanted a flag for interference there. They was looking for Chris McCoy, 6'5", junior tight end, making his debut. Haven't talked much about him yet. We have a Cougar down in the backfield.
Definitely reasonable to ask for a call there. McCoy looked like he had a couple hands grabbed on his jersey. He definitely wasn't running at the full speed we know he can to catch that ball, but nonetheless, the Blue Devils are just going to have to deal with more adversity here.
Second down and 10.
That's Nick Sakos who's down for St. Xavier. He appears to be all right. Another injury that we didn't really touch on for the Blue Devils on their defense. Robbie Best going through the concussion protocol, one of their starting linebackers and one of their best players on defense a season ago. He had the sunglasses on at practice a couple of days ago, so they'll be hoping for his return next week. He and Logan Reinders still out. Kolka on the play action, going deep, looking downfield. Kendall Williams tried to come back to the football, but it's the third interception of the day. That might be block again. It is indeed.
31, Jarvis Carter on the interception.
That's Jarvis Carter who picked that ball off. The third pick of the day. 3 interceptions in a game last season for Kolka, as we mentioned, against Indiana Wesleyan.
From their own 47-yard line.
Jarvis Carter joining the party, this hot group of defensive backs under Bill McHugh and their defensive coordinator.
Yeah, we mentioned that Kolka should try to use and utilize the other side of the field. He tries there the first time. We've seen him throw to that sideline and picked off once again. You just did not want to see that. I mean, especially when you're down by this much, you're trying to force the play a little bit more, and it's tough.
It's just frozen only on your camera.
We apologize if you may be experiencing technical difficulties. So now back with still 3:31 after that interception. Dylan, we spoke a few minutes ago saying that maybe the Blue Devils could try to run out this clock and potentially go on a drive to put something up on the board, but now once again finding themselves in a position where they'll have to stop this Xavier offense. And it's not bad field position for Martinez. They might be looking to score again. That ball comes loose. Shizuski lost it, and it's picked up on the sideline by Cam Urbanek. That's just what the Blue Devils dialed up. They get inside the Xavier 20.
First time in the red zone by the Blue Devils here tonight, and it comes off another turnover. So the Blue Devils, they turn the ball over. Cougars do the exact same thing, and that's exactly the play you needed from this defense. And that's exactly the confidence they needed as well. They needed experience, and they're getting it right there as the Blue Devil leadership shining through defensively, and they still have a chance here. 3:20 now to get some points on the board.
Golko to Sabaw trying to roll off this momentum. He picks up 4 on first down. Inside the 20 for the first time today, with 3:07 to go in this first half. It's the first kind of glimpse or blink from this St. Xavier team today. And the Blue Devils are looking to take advantage. Kolka looks Williams' direction, but he's pressured and brought down back at the 30-yard line. He was able to get rid of it. I think they're going to say that was a forward pass. And on the pressure there was big Bruce Mesa. We're going to say he was down by contact.
So at least the ball doesn't go too far back there. They're going to say it when he was initially wrapped up, Kolka. So now it gives him a little bit more space if he does want to pass it here. In the close quarters in the end zone with already 3 interceptions, probably tough to try to force it.
Timeout, Lawrence Tech.
We do get a timeout after that loss brings them back to the 16. 3rd and long when we come back. The Blue Devils will need the St. Xavier 8 to advance this possession with 1:57 to go in the opening half. It's a 31-0 St. Xavier lead. You're watching Blue Devil football on LTSN. Welcome back to LTSN. Jason Ross Jr. alongside Dylan Morello for the season opener here at Blue Devil Stadium. A lovely 70-degree day after the timeout. Probably the biggest 3rd down so far for Lawrence Tech. Down 31-0, but cracking on the door for the first time after a fumble. We get a breach on the offensive line. Who is this penalty going to go to? Both players up on the offensive line and D-line pointing towards each other's direction.
Looks like the Cougars made the first step, though. This will be big if the Blue Devils could get this.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty.
So, yep, it will be against the Cougars. Offside, 5-yard penalty.
That is big, Dylan. Advances it from what would have been 3rd and 21 had that penalty gone against Lawrence Tech. So now 3rd and 11. Manageable in an obvious passing down situation. Kolka has Foley out of the backfield, looks that way, then on the last progression tried to go over the middle for Kendall Williams. It's broken up that time by Joe Dodaro. Another experienced backer for St. Xavier.
Yeah, Milton Novick in there as well, applying the pressure on Kolka. And he's having a tough time just getting the ball away before that pressure is too much to handle.
That'll bring out 28, Brad Gibson to attempt the field goal.
Brad Gibson, 37-yard field goal, splits the uprights. And the Blue Devils get on the board. Dylan, an interesting series of events over these last few minutes. Looked like Lawrence Tech had the momentum to drive downfield with about 3:45 on the clock. 3rd interception. Then St. Xavier comes back. They have some nice field position, but then they turn it over. And then the Blue Devils looking like they might have gotten pushed back out of field goal range. They're able to utilize that penalty, get on the board for the first time. It's now 31-3. Still a intimidating deficit for a young group, but something to build off of going into the locker room. But first, you have to stop this team with 1:48 to go still in this half.
Yeah, that's a daunting challenge already. We've seen it all game. It is tough to stop this offense once they get rolling, but the Blue Devils did exactly what they needed to do, get some points on the board, erase that 0, and you know Gibson, he could kick. I mean, I could imagine he could kick from anywhere on the field he wants. He's so good back there. Field goal attempts pretty high up, and right there they trust him, and he gets them and the Blue Devils on the board, gets that confidence going. And he'll kick it off here as well.
St. Xavier will send back Harold Davis and Nick Sobeski.
Number one task at hand for Lawrence Tech right now. 1:48 to go in the first half, just trying to get a stop. And St. Xavier, that last possession, they looked like they had the intent to score. But Szajewski, the senior, made an unusual mistake. Here he is returning the kickoff, had some nice blocks, and gets to the 34.
Number 1, Nick Sobeski on the return.
Good return there.
Number 4, Nick Small.
Get some good field position for Martinez and his offensive core. They're going to try to add on to it.
Small spotted at the 35-yard line. The Cougars start 1st and 10.
That brings up 1st and 10 from the 35. And number 5 team in the country, St. Xavier Cougars, their highest preseason ranking since 2005, and living up to it, this experienced coaching staff. Some have been around for over 20 years. Over the middle, it's Harold Davis on a first down gain of 15 to get to midfield.
That's what they needed, a good first play on the drive. Right in over the middle, and
back to the pass game. They're speeding things up. That time, Pringle. He already has a couple of touchdown receptions, the freshman. The Blue Devils struggled when they saw tempo last year, and now they're seeing it against the number 5 team in the country right now with under 2 minutes to go in the opening half. Just trying to keep some points off the board here. Rightfully so. They were a young group last year. It's Martinez, the senior leader, pumps once, goes to the sideline, has a man, has a touchdown. It's Pringle again. That hookup has been advantageous, to say the least, in this opening half of play for St. Xavier. 37 points. And Dylan, that's why we said the number one task would still be, after you scored, to try to go out and stop this team. Certainly wasn't an easy task, and proving why there was Alex Martinez.
Yeah, very, very tough. 3 passes, 3 catches, 3 first downs, 1 touchdown. And that is tough for the Blue Devil defense here tonight.
The point after is good.
Well, as Dylan said, it was a concise drive, and a 2-minute drill worked to absolute perfection. Alex Martinez hooks up with Pringle once again. We'll take a quick breather. 38-3 the score with just 1:13 to go in the opening half of play.
Time now for a look inside Lawrence Technological University. And did you know LTU partners up with several Michigan high schools to advance education and give kids a leg up when it comes to preparing better for college? Lawrence Tech and West Bloomfield High School recently celebrated the opening of the high school's Tech Hub space. This is just one of the collaborations between LTU and West Bloomfield High School. Dual enrollment classes, internships, summer training sessions, as well as special programs for West Bloomfield students interested in engineering. The Tech Hub will provide distance learning opportunities for classes taught by
Minute 13 to work with for Lawrence Tech. A Turbay to kick off. You wonder what the conversation will be like in the locker room at halftime on both sides. This is Hinton in his first college football game. A fair catch. That'll bring things out to the 25 for Tyler Kolka.
Well, we saw the Cougars do it in the last drive. The quick 2-minute drill into the end zone in just 3 passes, 3 plays. So let's see if the Blue Devils could pretty much take a page out of their book and do the exact same thing. They got 1:13 to work with here. Try to get out of bounds, stop the clock as much as they can. Still have a couple timeouts left as well.
They haven't seen a test like this yet. And in this tough conference, you'll see multiple teams of this caliber. We talk about Concordia coming here this season. St. Francis at the end of the month. They're coming off a really tough loss to number 1 Morningside, that's a Morningside team that appears to be a cut above everyone else, the defending national champs. But it will be a formidable task as they try to navigate their way through this tough schedule and their inaugural Mid-States Football Association Conference season. If you're just joining us, there's a burst right out of the gates for the Cougars. They just kept building and building. Lawrence Tech got some promising plays, but 3 interceptions for this St. Xavier defense. Here's Sabal breaking his biggest run of the afternoon. Gets to about the 46-yard line. It's a gain of 18 on 2nd and 8 for Ahmad Sabal, one of the captains for this Blue Devil team. They're expecting big things out of him this year. Clock is ticking, under 30 seconds to go. Kolka getting the signal from the sideline is OC Keith Beckham. They'll call a timeout here. Once again, things are just a little sped up at this level in comparison to what you saw last year for Lawrence Tech. 16 seconds to go in the opening half of play. We'll take another quick breather on LTSN. Welcome back to LTSN. Tyler Kolka trying to engineer something with 18 seconds to go. 3 receivers set. Once again, Spawn and Williams at the bottom of your screen. Kolka with a clean pocket, looking downfield for Hinton. That surely no pass interference, and the fans erupt with displeasure. There was some grabbing and tugging there, Dylan. I don't know.
That's already 2 questionable no calls there for the Blue Devils. Kolka showing his arm, getting that all the way downfield. I mean, there was a little push and shove, maybe because the Cougars got their hands on the ball first, but I don't think that would change it. But nonetheless, the Blue Devils now, with that pass, 5 seconds have ticked away. Still got opportunity here, though, on 2nd down.
Wildcats show pressure and bring the heat. Over the middle, it's C.J. Thompson. They get down inside of St. Xavier territory with 9 seconds left. They use the last of their timeouts.
29 Ron Carroll made the tackle. First down, Lawrence Tech.
So nice little breather here for them. Most likely the last play of the first half coming up. It's going to be a big one. You know the Blue Devils are going to have to pass it downfield. So it's now working around the Cougar defense. Try not to get another interception here. You got to find your targets. Get open. Separation from them as well. And here we go.
C.J. Thompson, we knew heading into this one, would be one of the key targets. 6'4" with long arms, now trying to build off that 22-yard gain. No timeouts left. 9 seconds to go. Kolka hit as he throws. He was met promptly there by the big DB. It was Dodaro once again getting in there, along with Danny Sicaro.
There is a flag on the play.
We get a flag down on the play at the 43 of St. Xavier. St. Xavier players are pointing towards the Blue Devils.
Personal foul. Chop block against the offense.
So it's the second blocking infraction that we've seen today for Lawrence Tech. And that's going to set them back considerably here. With just 6 seconds to go, all you're thinking now is one toss down the field.
Yeah, pretty much the only thing possible at this point. Once again, discipline coming to haunt the Blue Devils. You're already down in this game. Don't want to have anything against you that limits your chances of coming back, and flags will do that to you. Blue Devils have to do a better job, too, of protecting Kolka. He's taking some big hits.
Chop block. They will accept the penalty.
Xavier will accept the 15-yard shot block call.
It remains first down.
Now LTU is just going to bring 4 receivers into the formation here. St. Xavier, just 3 men up front. Drop back into the zone with men all the way down to the 20-yard line. This isn't really a part of the Blue Devil playbook, at least not what we've seen so far. Kolka trying to find room. Gets back just past the line of scrimmage, and that'll do it for the first half of play. Lawrence Tech will look to regroup. It'll be a challenging task. Down 38-3, but the fans do get up on a beautiful 70-degree day and salute their boys on this opening afternoon of NAIA football. You're watching the Blue Devils on LTSN. Once again, 38-3 in favor of the Cougars after one half of play.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the heart and soul of the Lawrence Tech campus, the LTU Blue Devils Marching Band. Today's show, entitled Marvel vs. DC, features the music of past and present superheroes. Our story starts with one who is faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive. Up, up, and away.
At Henry Ford Health System, we treat the whole athlete, from surgery to cardiology, nutrition to performance conditioning, sports psychology to brain health, using the most innovative technologies like motion analysis and advanced treatments. We champion the whole athlete, from injury prevention and treatment to performance conditioning, with appointments with 24 business hours. Let us create a unique game plan for you, just like we do for the pros. Visit us at henryford.com/sports.
Time now for a look inside Lawrence Technological University. And did you know LTU partners up with several Michigan high schools to advance education and give kids a leg up when it comes to preparing better for college? Lawrence Tech and West Bloomfield High School recently celebrated the opening of the high school's Tech Hub space. This is just one of the collaborations between LTU and West Bloomfield High School. Dual enrollment classes, internships, summer training sessions, as well as special programs for West Bloomfield students interested in engineering. The Tech Hub will provide distance learning opportunities for classes taught by Lawrence Tech professors and West Bloomfield teachers, both via video conferencing and in person.
If we orient and mentor and help students in the right direction, they are likely to succeed and be leaders in the community. And the community wins, the school system wins, the state wins, and America wins.
Attention teachers and administrators, your school should partner up with Lawrence Technological University. This is the definition of win-win. Inquire within by going to the university's website, ltu.edu, right now. Esports at LTU is growing rapidly, and students in the esports program recently held a gaming event on campus. Of course, there were tons of video games, board games, and so much more.
Right now, this event is helping so that people are aware of what kind of fun and kind of exciting things that we do here at LTU. With these games, we're trying to make sure that people are engaged in LTU, and hopefully they want to come here if they don't come here already.
LTU is hosting another esports tournament in May, where students in high school will compete for a chance to win thousands of dollars in scholarship to LTU and other great prizes. High school teams across Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio compete in an 8-week-long season. Then, the top 16 will be invited to compete for the grand prize on LTU's campus. After 2 days of competition, the 2 top teams left in the tourney will go head-to-head, but only one will be crowned Esports High School Champion. If you want to find out more about esports, head over to ltu.edu right now.
We are holding our prospect camp, and we open it up from 7th grade all the way up to seniors, going into their senior year. And we're holding it here at Troy Athens High School, and we got a gorgeous day for it. What it is people who have the dream of playing college softball. And for us, we have some people who are extremely interested in LTU that have come to the camp, or that they're looking to go on to college and play college softball. We go over, it's more of advanced drills than just basic drills that we try to do here today.
I really like the prospect camp because there's always a lot of energy with these younger girls, so we get to help them out and grow their skills more, and we get to have fun while we're doing it and teach them like a lot of cool things that Coach Baird showed us.
My favorite thing is they always have a lot of energy. They always have, they're always high-fiving each other, and they talk a lot, and that's probably my favorite part.
We try and bring what we teach the younger kids to our fields. Like if there's something that our teammates aren't understanding, like we try and teach them like we would to teach the younger kids.
So we've got 2 freshmen here today, Aaron and Rylan, and I just met Aaron today, and we're already clicking, and it really helps us to kind of learn each other's teaching styles. So it really helps us know how I learn, how Sarah learns. Like I learn different than Sarah, and it helps us to help each other.
I want the players here more than probably me. When they see the players doing the drills and being a part of it, it's for our players not only to give back to the game of softball, but also for our players to.
Chesky and Davis go back for St. Xavier.
Welcome back to LTSN. LTU won the toss, opted to receive. The St. Xavier with the ball to start this second half, and it's Shizuski who did well in that kick return game in the first half, finding his way to the 29. Jason Ross Jr. back alongside Dylan Morello, a picture-perfect 70-degree day to kick off this 2019 season. For Lawrence Tech, you wonder what the locker room discussion was like down 38-3.
Yeah, definitely wonder about it, but for sure talked about just getting the defense and offense going, just all aspects right now of their game really hasn't clicked on all cylinders right now. It is the first game of the season. You got to think about that. But on the flip side of the coin, this is also the Cougars' first game. So both teams right now, they had that pregame jitters. Right now, it's after the first half. You got to dial in.
They go over the middle. Harold Davis bobbled it. Almost ricocheted right into the hands that time of C.J. Miles, but
if Davis recepted that cleanly and had in his hands, Miles right behind, easily could have stripped him away of it. Could have got a quick turnover there.
They go to the hot target in the first half. This time, able to break his way free for extra yardage. It's Vance McShane.
Miles Young made the tackle.
Chris Simmons once again there on the outside. Good catch, and once again using that stiff arm, plowing through, gaining those extra yards.
And my apologies, Chris Simmons on that last play. Here's Harold Davis. Those two, along with Pringle, have been the go-to targets in terms of the receiving core today for St. Xavier. Crowley shoved him out of bounds.
Second down and 2.
Starting right where they left off in the first half with that quick offense. It's pretty much the snap, turn left, turn right for Martinez, and a quick throw.
Here's Watson. Had a touchdown in the opening half of play. Oak Park, Illinois native.
Daniel Max made the tackle.
He and Vance McShane have had a really good day together as a duo. Blue Devils have tried to mix in several running backs as well, but the offensive line push from this senior-led offensive line for the Cougars really having their way so far, with still plenty of time to go. This is 1st and 10 from the Blue Devil 47. Into plus territory for the first time in this second half. Martinez with plenty of time. Downfield, it's Simmons. Artistry this afternoon between quarterback and receiver. Martinez doesn't look like he's missed a beat after missing the past 11 months with that ACL injury from last year. They eclipsed the 40 mark. It's 44-3 in favor of St. Xavier.
Beautiful pass, served right on a platter there for Simmons. And wow, the Blue Devils just caught looking and gazing as Simmons just bursted into the backfield, not even contested, and puts them up on the board once again, the first drive here of the second half. And for the Blue Devils, we're mentioning what was said in the locker room. Right now, it's about beating the odds, because on paper, you look at the Cougars sideline, they're expected to win this match. I mean, they ranked 5 in the preseason poll by coaches, so they're expected to win. The Blue Devils right now are the underdogs. They're just for the first time in this division, and it's going to be a tough struggle. But definitely, at least this game, Jason, could be a measuring stick. This is one of the better teams, and seeing how you rank up against them, it's going to be key for the future endeavors of this team.
They are in the tougher of the two divisions, as you mentioned, Dylan, in that Mid-East League. This is a cross-divisional matchup, though. The heavy favorites to win the Midwest League, yet again, are the St. Xavier Cougars, and showing you why in the early goings. That was a busted coverage there as Simmons found himself wide open. It's been target practice over the past couple of possessions for Alex Martinez. Set to kick off is Iturbe. Hinton will wave this one down once again, and they'll bring it out to the 25.
Fair catch. By rule, the ball will come out to the 25-yard line.
So now let's see what the Blue Devils cooked up at half for offensive-wise. You saw their defense wasn't able to really change much of the tape from the first half. But now Kolka once again will step onto the field.
Another challenging aspect of this is just now finding energy and putting those mistakes behind you as a young team. 3 interceptions in the first half. They'll shovel to Sabaw. He powers his way down to the 37 rather. Jarvis Carter and Josh Hediger, two of the names that St. Xavier fans will be watching all season long. And those linebackers for this Cougar team, they are stout and they came in ready to go. Josh Hediger leads the group of linebackers for St. Xavier, NAIA All-American honorable mention a season ago. He was 6th in tackles for a loss in the entire country last season as they get to Colca once again. That time, got rid of it just in time. But it'll set up 3rd and short. We haven't seen them go to the air very often. It's been a ground-heavy game. But for the majority of the time, going up against this defense, that's going to favor the Cougars' D-line. Sabah now with 64 yards on the ground, leading the way for the Blue Devils. Colca 7 of 19 for 120 yards. He was extremely efficient last season. That was one of his keys to success, the accuracy that he possesses. He's an excellent leader, and he's excited for this season. Right now, trying to keep the spirits up on his group. Went to Sabah there on 3rd and short, and he was stacked up running into a crowded box.
How about Sabah with the carry?
Looks like it'll be another quick 3 and out here for the Blue Devils.
You wonder if the Cougars start to get some experience for some of their younger guys. They've got some highly touted freshmen, but it's been their experienced players taking the roles today and thriving in those roles of success.
Yeah, 7 of the returners earned the 2018 first team All MSFA last year. So, like you just mentioned, their experience, their knowledge just of the game and of the league that they're in, it's going to help them, and it has so far in this game. It's only the first game of the season, and right now they look like a very, very tough opponent. Can't imagine how much they improve and gel more and work those young players in.
They won a national championship back in 2011. Had an excellent running back that year, and Nick Pesic and head coach Mike Jimenez now in his 21st season. Dylan, at the end of the day, I think it's fair to say Lawrence Tech would aspire to one day reach where this St. Xavier program is, winning back-to-back conference titles and now picking up right where they left off. Middle of the defense gets a nice push there, led by Drake Berry and Kevlon Griffith.
Yeah, any team, that's the goal. You want to shoot to the moon, and don't stop there. Right now for the Cougars, they really haven't. They're trying to prove something once again this season. It starts in game 1, and right now this is going to be a strong message here. If they even pile up more points on the board, it's tough. Everybody's going to board watch a little bit, even though.
Now this ball falls loose as we have a new quarterback in the game now for the Cougars. Let's see.
Yeah, right on cue as well. Jason just said a couple of the bench players will get in.
Yeah, Ben Mazurkowicz, Plainfield, Illinois native.
He's a freshman too, so maybe the Blue Devils could capitalize here on his inexperience.
They go back to the ground game. DeMarcus Bush, he'll be a leader on the defense this year for Lawrence Tech, able to lead the way there and force a punt.
Daniel Max with the stop there, and the Blue Devils stop them for the first time in this second half. And that's going to be good. I mean, if they could keep doing that, just gain some more momentum. They can't get a 3 and out this next drive, though. They have to hold on to the ball a little bit longer than that.
We get a flag prior to the snap on the kickoff. A punt, rather.
Delay game, 5-yard penalty.
It'll be a delay of game on St. Xavier. pushes it back to 4th and 23, and now they'll punt from their own end zone. Blue Devils got a decent push there. Might have been clipped. This will drop down at the St. Xavier 19. It's the best field position of the day for Lawrence Tech as Tyler Kolka straps his helmet on once more. Opportunity here. So trailing 42. It's just in terms of you're curious what the mentality is now. The message from the coaches is trying to muster up some sort of energy, something to build on. Plays like that, the effort plays when you are down 42. And most think this game is all but over.
Right now, too, for the coaching staff, it's going to be key to see the players that hang their heads low or give up. You don't want that on your sideline or eating away at your team. So now is the test of true will and who wants to keep on battling here tonight.
Sabaw gets wrapped up by Sirocco.
Second time here, too, tonight that the Blue Devils are in the red zone. So last time, the discipline and lack of it cost them to only be able to come away with it with a field goal. So the Blue Devils trying to make more of a dent in the Cougars' armor than just that.
There's also some self-deprecation on that drive. We'll see if they can limit that. Just things to build off of. Limiting penalties in this second half. Limiting turnovers. Converting in the red zone. Getting 7 instead of 3. That'll be the objective right now. We get a whistle prior to the snap. And Dylan right on cue, as I mentioned there. The discipline starts to tailor off. So those mistakes in big spots, you have to clean those up if you want to score points, let alone win in this conference.
Yeah, once again, spoke too soon there.
Yep.
I mean, it's the discipline. You get so close, you could taste something, a spark of offensive pressure from the Blue Devils, and it's their own plays that really are coming back and are going to haunt them here. They still are in good proximity, though. Let's see if they can punch it in.
The Blue Devil faithful looking for something positive. Derek Hinton climbs the ladder and hauls that down for the first touchdown of the Blue Devil campaign. The promising freshman from Farmington, Michigan, Avondale High School. Spoke to him at practice a couple of weeks ago. He is pumped. That's his first collegiate touchdown. And something to build off of after the penalty, able to atone for the mistake.
Love to see it, especially from him, the freshman you saw on the sideline. Kolka really talking to him, telling him he could do it. I mean, giving him the right words of wisdom there. And it pays off. As the kick is good as well. So the Blue Devils' first touchdown of this season. And something once again to build off of.
With 8:18 to go in the third quarter, Tyler Kolka to Derek Hinton. 45-10 now in favor of Xavier. So flip the script now on defense for the Blue Devils. Just finding things to build off of. You block that punt, or at least get a piece of it. Leads to excellent field position. Blue Devil fans getting a look at the future of this program with Derek Hinton, the highly touted receiver. They brought in 26 freshmen. Dylan spoke about the freshmen in our pregame show. Retooled group of receivers. Naturally, you have to settle your way in anything when you're young and you haven't really had the experience yet. And Brad Gibson on to kick off. Back to return Harold Davis for the Cougars,
Tyler Barnett.
along with Vance McShane.
Back to Cougars.
He's going to push McShane back into his own end zone. He'll watch it fall onto the turf.
So here we go. Once again, the Blue Devils need a stop here to keep going. In that last drive, the QBs interchanged for the Cougars. Let's see if they do that again. I mean, they have a big enough cushion to switch it around, switch up their personnel.
They have to bring Martinez back in after Mazurkiewicz kind of struggled in those couple of plays. Spoke to someone before the game who played with Martinez, and he said guys just love him, as trying to extend out and make the catch there with Shizuski. And on the coverage that time, it was Davis.
Yeah, just watching this game, I mean, we just love him up here, watching him play, watching him be calm, cool, collected in the pocket there. Doesn't really move too much around, but he finds his targets and rifles it at him with blistering accuracy.
Back to the air. They throw it 74% of the time, testing the young defensive backs of Lawrence Tech. They wanted a flag thrown over on that far side. Didn't get one. That'll force third and long. Martinez has really had his way over these last few possessions.
Good coverage there and sticking with it by Broden.
215 yards and 4 touchdowns for Martinez so far. There's a flag in the backfield. Harold Davis holds that in inside of Blue Devil territory down to the 37. There are some flags in the holding zone, though.
First time this evening, the Blue Devils really getting pressure on Martinez. He landed a solid blow, but still, while getting hit, able to beam that pass downfield and caught beautifully.
If it stands, it's a gain of 34. But it looks like it's coming back. And the Blue Devil fans, after that last touchdown, now something to cheer about. They have really tried to test this young group of DBs in the early goings here of this 2019 campaign. The Blue Devils were excited for the test. Speaking with some of the defensive backs, talked to Spencer Iquinto earlier this week. They were excited for the test. New defensive backs coach Curtis Drummond, former Michigan State safety, former Big Ten Defensive Back of the Year back in 2014. Played in the NFL for a couple of years with the Houston Texans. He's a really cool story. He was in the Alliance League that folded last year and was told, hey, unfortunately, we're going to have to find something else for you, but we loved what you did, but it was the connection ultimately between him and Coach Duvendek that led to him joining this staff kind of late, and he's been a presence, to say the least. The defensive back said they turned around when he walked into the room and said, oh, and he's a coach. So they're going to look for him moving forward to possibly have an impact on this young core of DBs. He already has a true technician during his playing days. Shizuski goes up against Urbanek there. They've tested Broden.
Broden again, great coverage there. Not really pushing or shoving too much, just able to get into the hands and unable to receive it.
Turbe back to punt. Feels some pressure again. Kendall Williams comes up for the fair catch to put Tyler Kolka in a favorable position for the second possession in a row.
Good job. Last 2 drives, no points on the board for the Cougars. Blue Devil defense trying to live up to that expectations we have of them.
Something to build off of. Have a better second half. And they've done that so far. Almost halfway in to this third quarter of play. They pitch it to Foley, who's back in the game. They're starting back a year ago, lumbering his way along the sideline, keeping the shoulder low. He's a finesse back, but he's not afraid to take some contact. Gains 6 on first down.
Foley, one of those veteran presences you love to see out there. He had a big year last year. This year seems to be he'll be rotating in and out, but nonetheless, when he is on the field and you start calling his name, he's set and primed for a big play.
They did drop the ball earlier in this game. Blue Devils were able to recover. It's one area where he's really looking to improve. And the Blue Devils overall are looking to improve discipline-wise. Turnovers have played a role today. Looking to keep a clean drive here. It's a clean pocket for Tyler Kolka and finds C.J. Thompson now in that number 87.
Nice play by Thompson. A lot of bodies around him. He finds a way to get his hands on the ball and put it close to him.
Curtis Maxwell is another guy that they're missing up front. That offensive line for Lawrence Tech. About 6'3", 430, highly touted offensive line recruit. But they'll hope to get him back, and Logan Reindress. Robert Rose out as well in the offensive line. So they've had to plug some guys in this week that might have not expected to see earlier in the week. Kolka rolling. Kolka will tuck and take a hit after about a 3-yard gain on first down. Defensive secondary for this St. Xavier team has done well to pull off kind of those coverage sack plays where Kolka has been looking downfield but nothing really doing.
Coverage has been beautiful from the Cougars, and I mean, Kolka is one of those QBs who, when he has to run, he's not going to be shy from it, and he's done a pretty good job at least getting the Blue Devils some extra yards here. The couple times he has had to leave his little bubble and get running.
2nd and 6 from the Xavier 39. Makai Otero ripped one up the middle but then fumbled. The ball is loose for the second time today. Did the Blue Devils recover for a second time today? It is going to stay with Lawrence Tech. A gasp, a sigh of relief let go from this Blue Devil crowd.
Would have been tough there if it was another turnover by the Blue Devils. Once again, they get so much pressure, and the offense was clicking there, a big run. Definitely didn't want to lose the ball or possession, and lucky for the Blue Devils, they get one of those good ball bounces and still have chance here to put some more points up on the board.
Fans were waiting with bated breath for that call. Looking to get in the red zone for the second consecutive possession. Sabal patiently picks his way to the St. Xavier 21.
Stephen Meyer made the tackle.
Time is dwindling on this third quarter. From an outsider's perspective looking in, if the Blue Devils could pull within 20, pull within 3 scores here, could be something to build off of heading into next week against Wisconsin Lutheran. Another good gain on the ground. That's what they wanted to establish in the first half, but just couldn't quite do it against an energetic D-line of St. Xavier, senior Layden. But now the Blue Devils are beginning to settle down a bit up front with that young core.
It's one of those things that only time will tell how good the Blue Devil offense can be. You see them on paper. You saw them last year. Pretty much the offense is what stayed the most intact from the year prior. So with the Blue Devils, if they get the run and everything else going, it's going to be strong.
Kolka, the handoff to Sabaw. Gets inside the 10. They'll mark him at the 9. They need the 6 for this to be a first down and goal situation. Looks like Coach Duvendek called that play. Spoke to him before the game, and he just said, our mentality is to play our game. And that was a similar sentiment that was echoed throughout practice the other day. Execute, don't worry about them, and play your game. Kolka looking at the flats there for Sabaw, but it was tipped by the big paw. Looks like number 99 there. That's Peyton Campbell on that D-line, Round Lake Beach, Illinois native. Sophomore. That sets up 3rd and 4. They go back to Sabaw. This is going to be close. 4th and just under a yard, it appears. Surely they'll go for this.
Yeah, that was a big 3rd down here. They're going to try once again to convert on 4th. So it's less than a yard. Blue Devils should, if the running game keeps going, should be able to punch this through. Here we go.
They're going to stack it up. The big uglies, as the legendary Keith Jackson used to say. Power on power, and Kolka able to motor his way forward. That'll set up 1st and goal. They get the yardage they need down to the 5. And Dylan, at their best, this is the kind of offense that we're going to see as we get a flag that actually comes in during the huddles. Pretty unusual. Oh, wow. That's the second time we've seen that substitution infraction today. This is an illegal substitution that's going to set the Blue Devils back, making it 1st and goal from the 10.
3rd time the Blue Devils have gone 1st and goal, and 3rd time that a flag has made them backtrack a little bit. And that's not a good recipe for success. We saw that call, though, on the other side of the field. The Cougars had the first one.
Foley. And Dylan, as I was mentioning prior to that flag, Coach Duvendek, he's from the Michigan State culture. He coached there, and he was a part of Mark D'Antonio's staff. They won a lot of games together. And that pro-style mentality, kind of methodical drives, build it up through a good offensive line and power your way down, get the passing game to kind of come off the running game. At their best, this is what we would like to see, using up clock and mixing in both the passing and running game.
Yeah, we saw it last year. I mean, just a ton. The Blue Devils putting up outstanding numbers. And, I mean, if we could get that again this year, their Blue Devils offense could be tough, really tough to stop, pretty much almost like this Cougar offense. I mean, you said prior that the Blue Devils aspire to be kind of like what this Cougar program is. The Blue Devils are still young, only really in their 2nd season of competitive play. So still have a lot of work to do. But you love the foundation that they do have, the great coaching staff, the good leaders here already. And it's only going to get better from here.
This is certainly a good point to achieve for. This is a program in St. Xavier that, as we mentioned, won a national title over Carroll College back in 2011, led by one of the best running backs of all time in the NAIA, Nick Pesic. Kolka to the air here on 3rd and goal, floats it towards the end zone, over the outstretched arms of C.J. Thompson. He was double covered in the corner there. Excellent coverage. That time Joe Dodaro coming over from his linebacker position to play an integral role in halting this Blue Devil drive.
Yeah, that was a tough pass there. The O-line kind of disintegrated. Kolka once again had to run, leave his pocket, try to get it something off. He took a hit to make a play there, just unable to connect.
So that sets up Gibson on the chip shot. The second field goal of the day is through the uprights, and the Blue Devils get into the teens. 45-13 with 15 seconds to go off a drive that ate up a lot of clock. Late substitution infraction kind of set it back.
St. Xavier 45, Lawrence Tech 13.
Our friend Chase Kaufman, as we welcome you back. 14-14, the Army-Michigan game. Apparently Army just missed a 53-yard field goal that could have won the game in Ann Arbor.
Justin Pringle and Harold Davis go back for the Cougars.
Pringle and Davis back to return this kickoff from Gibson. It's Pringle. He's had a sensational day. Only gets to about his own 19 there. 11 seconds left on the third quarter clock.
First return by the Cougars. It doesn't get past their own 20. Blue Devils, nice work to stymie that run. And the defense will have a lot of position, good position here to try to stop them once again. It looks like Martinez will come out. Second drive in a row for him.
15 of 21, 215 through the air, 4 touchdowns for Martinez in his highly anticipated return. Hands it off this time to Davis, who comes over from his receiver position to get a really nice chunk on first down. It's a gain of 6. And plug Davis in a multitude of ways. That'll do it for the third quarter of play. So LTU has a better third quarter than they did first and second. Still 45-13 though, in favor of the defending Mid-States Football Association champs. We'll take a quick breather. Go to break here on LTSN.
So you want to work out, and you're curious about supplements, but don't know where to start. All you have to do is, oh, you're already done. With the Benefit Box, you get full-size supplements customized to you and tailored to your fitness goals. With easy-to-use instructions delivered right to your front door. Visit www.thebenefitbox.com to get started on building your box and you today.
Welcome back to LTSN. Welcome you back to the campus of Lawrence Tech University. The Blue Devils had a pretty nice third quarter.
Second down and 4 to start the fourth quarter.
45-13 the score. Martinez back in. Over 200 yards in the passing game today. Shizuski makes another catch. The senior gets wrapped up. Flag in the backfield.
There is a flag on the play.
Jason Ross Jr. alongside Dylan Morello, producer Kia Tyus today. Our first of 2 games today against the Cougars. Later on, the Indiana Tacoma Cougars will come in as we get a holding penalty, as our women's soccer team looks to stay hot here at Blue Devil Stadium.
Yeah, that should be a good one later tonight.
Caitlin Mather is on fire, coming off a WAC Offensive Player of the Week. Dahlia Jarosik, Deanna Hill. They've been masterful through 2 games at Blue Devil Stadium. Head coach Andy Richards gotten off to some electric starts. They'll take on a first-year program in Indiana Tacoma, who's in a similar situation to the Blue Devils right now, trying to find their way through a tough conference and learning as they go, learning on the fly, as they say. Martinez and his offensive coordinator, Mark Yanule, who's in his 16th year as the offensive coordinator for the Cougars. They've been on the same page, and they said, he's our guy. We trust him. And we are excited to have him back at a phenomenal camp. He goes to the flats there, unable to get any blocks to Shizuski. That sets up 3rd and 14. Over the last few possessions, though, Dylan, we see the Blue Devils doing better in that line of scrimmage battle that they put such an emphasis on.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, they really have. I mean, you see a subtle change from the first half to the second. And the Blue Devils just, I mean, I think they've got the confidence. They get the juices flowing. You get a feel for the game, feel for the opponent. You settle back into your own game plan. It's been working. 4
receivers here, but he just goes to a check down. Jamari Watson getting almost to the first down marker. Everyone went downfield, and Watson caught it, and it is a first down. That's deflating for Lawrence Tech. On 3rd and 14, looks like they pick up 15.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, you think you have them hemmed in, and just a nice little pass, and once again, it's the yards they gain after the pass. Right now, the Cougars are doing such a good job of catching it and gaining more, cutting through that Blue Devils defensive core, and not a good play.
It's been a fun atmosphere despite the score. 45-13. Here's a zipping pass over the middle. Harold Davis, yet again, 5th all-time is where he spotted last year in pass receptions at 86. They're expecting potentially even more out of him this year. We've seen Pringle get off to an auspicious start to his career, so plenty of targets was the theme coming in for Martinez. They made it easy on him along with the running game in the early goings. Really didn't feel like we saw much through the air from a normally pass-heavy offense in the beginning of this game. It was Vance McShane, it was Jamari Watson moving the way behind an offensive line that was playing well with those seniors up there. We're going to flag in the backfield here. We'll see what happens.
I think in the beginning of the game, too, though, just for the Cougars, they're really just trying to test the Blue Devils. And, I mean, really just dip the toe in the water, see what's going on. And they realized early that the running game was going to work really, really well. You saw the Blue Devils, now they're kind of shutting it down, and now the Cougars are going to the passing game. So just switching it up here. A tale of 2 offensive tapes.
That was a hand to the face call, automatic first down. Able to elude the first tackler, but unable to elude the second that time. It's Ryan Crowley, the sophomore from Jackson, Michigan. Didn't see much of him last year, but he might take the spot. I mentioned Robbie Best is out today at linebacker, and lost Thomas Lappin as well. So you plug guys like Ryan Crowley in, and that's a promising play. Such an important position on defense at linebacker. Once again, flags fly prior to the snap.
Looks to be a false start here for the Cougars.
It remains 2nd down.
Yeah, St. Xavier maybe losing some focus a little bit after that explosive 38-3 start. Martinez looking for Pringle. That was nearly intercepted. And on the coverage that time, who's had a promising day today, Christian Clark-Broden, the freshman defensive back.
Yeah, great read by him there. He was a couple feet behind the play. Saw the ball coming in that quick burst, two-step speed. Got a hand on it, and the Blue Devils now force a third down.
That brings up 3rd and 20. The complexion has changed a little bit over the past half a quarter. More of these 3rd and long situations for St. Xavier. This time Martinez just has to tuck. That's a nifty, elusive move. Then he gets helicoptered down by Broden, who is continuing to have a great start to his collegiate career. The guy we didn't even know if we would see him today. But the 5'6" freshman from Southfield and Southfield A&T High School, really good top-level program just down the street, is off to a nice start. Nearly forced a fumble there. That'll send Kendall Williams back to receive this punt.
I just like that play because this is the first time really that you've had a free lick at Martinez, and they're going to need it. I mean, it's maybe a little bit too late. We're in the 4th quarter there, but at least sending a message here that the Blue Devils are still here to play, and they got a nice little piece of them there.
Pacer to punt. Williams back. He'll catch it off the one hop. They're trying to let go his speed in a multitude of ways. Kind of saw Cam Mitchell, Kayvon Higdon at that position last year, returning punts, but now it'll be Williams. He has the ability to break them. We'll see him right back out here on offense as Kolka and company get set.
Williams on the return.
Next week, once again, Wisconsin Lutheran will have that kickoff for you at noon right here on LTSN. A pleasure to have you with us. Thank you for tuning in wherever you may be. Plenty of excitement coming into the season opener, as there always is with college football. One of the greatest sports on the planet, and it's back in Southfield. Their first meaningful conference game since 1941. They played in 1946, but that was an independent year. Here's Kolka scrambling for his life. Looks downfield, almost had Thompson. Then it almost took a fortuitous ricochet to Hinton.
Kolka once again forced to run, make a play with his feet and then his arm. It's tough when a QB really isn't set. He bullied that one. Luckily escaped the interception, but almost, like you mentioned, a nice bounce. That would have been a great play by the Blue Devils if could get a hand on it. But nonetheless here, setting up shop, 2nd down.
I think it would have been worthy of one of our top 10 plays in the Sports Report.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't forget to check out the LTU Sports Report on Monday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox Sports Detroit. You can also catch it on our various social media channels, LTU Athletics YouTube channel, where we will have highlights of this one.
Timeout, Lawrence Tech.
It's a Lawrence Tech timeout. 2nd and 10 when we come back here on LTSN. Welcome back to LTSN. The Blue Devils setting up with 2nd and 10 here. The I formation. Sabaugh finds a hole and makes his way up to the 38. Ahmad Sabaugh, named a captain before this season started. He looked excited the other day at practice. He's gotten the biggest chunks in the ground. We've seen some good runs from Makai Otero and Tanner Foley as well. It appears as though it will be a pretty consistent rotation as Sabaugh checks out here, and right on cue, Tanner Foley. By the way, the thrilling updates coming in from Chase Kaufman on the Army-Michigan game. It's now 21-14 in favor of Army in overtime. First down, Michigan. Here's Kolka looking and couldn't find Hinton. Nice pass break up there from Peyton Negro once again. More updates coming in. Touchdown, Michigan. They only trail by an extra point now. So Michael Fox out to punt now after the Blue Devils couldn't convert on third down. Fair catch made at the 36. I wonder if that brings out Martinez again, up 45-13 in the fourth.
Fair catch by number 82, Luke.
He's really led the troops well. Updating you once again, the extra point was good.
For the Cougars right now, they kind of let the pedal off the metal here in the fourth quarter. Pretty much, I mean, the whole second half, they got the one touchdown and really haven't done too much since.
Yeah, focus-wise, you think about those top teams when they get out to early leads in the first few weeks of the season. I was watching Oklahoma and Houston last week, and Jalen Hurts wasn't at all happy after the game, despite the win. You could imagine with this second half, the last few possessions in particular, where the Blue Devil defense, give them credit, have really been able to get a better push. These last few possessions, maybe that's something to talk about for Xavier moving forward. Barring something magical, they could move up in the national rankings. They should, actually, given St. Francis's 80-0 loss to Morningside. St. Francis at number 3. That does sound as ridiculous as it is. Morningside number 1, but they're a ridiculous team. They're just a cut above everyone else, and they are heavy favorites to win the national championship once again this year. Number 1 ranked team in the land for a reason. Right now we're getting a glimpse of the number 5 team in the land in St. Xavier. They've proved to live up to that ranking. Once again, Martinez will head out as we get some extracurriculars. The frustrations begin to settle in.
Xavier Davis made the tackle.
Ben Mazurkowicz back in at QB. Just 1 for 1 on the day. He was backed up inside his own 15 on that first possession. He's a freshman. These are the valuable reps that the Blue Devils were able to give their backup QB Tanner Jeska in some games last season. He actually threw a touchdown pass when they played Eastern Michigan's club team. So down the road, you never want to see an injury, but it was something that the Cougars had to go through last season. An 0-2 start. This year, it'll be a different mentality. Now 1-0, barring something unforeseen.
13 Thompson on the carry.
A little bit more of people jabbing at each other there, talking.
Fourth down and 11.
Both teams, I guess, some animosity now building as the game gets into the final stages. Blue Devil defense hold them off, though, once again. So nothing going points-wise since that first touchdown for the Cougars.
The freshman wide receiver Derek Hinton, who is responsible for the lone touchdown catch today for Lawrence Tech. And now here is Williams with momentum after catching that ball, and the Blue Devils will set up shop at the 47-yard line.
All right, good field position here for the Blue Devils. Now just let's look for one of those drives once again where it's literally a little bit methodical. They just get down the field. I mean, you may want to try to rush it here. I mean, just to try to get as many points as you can. 7 minutes left, not too much time. So the Blue Devils definitely want to get a nice drive here, avoid the penalties. and try to get some more points on the board to make it look a little bit more reasonable. This game isn't going to be 80-0, but try to at least whittle down that deficit.
Whatever was said at the locker room, I think it really has spurred this team on in terms of playing better, the effort. They've settled in as you naturally do. They hope to get off to a better start than they did last year against Wisconsin Lutheran. They were down 22-3 in that game last year in Wisconsin. Came back. What was an admirable and noteworthy effort, knowing it sounds like we're beating a dead horse here, but how young they are and how young they were last season in just their second game as a group together. But certainly hoping for a better start to that game against Wisconsin Lutheran next week.
Yeah, they'll look at the tape of that again. I mean, I remember when that happened, just everybody on campus was talking about it. That was one of the main topics of our show and also the pregame of the next one. So the Blue Devils will watch that film. Definitely, I mean, for sure learn from it last year and try to continue into this one.
Off the play action, Kolka looking for Hinton. That is questionable in terms of the contact once again. Some groans coming from this crowd. It was Tyler Barnett in on the coverage. They're going to say he timed it up well.
Yeah, it seems like any pass downfield by Kolka and the Blue Devils really stirring up the crowd. Yeah. I mean, I guess with no call there, it's just beautiful defense by the Cougars. I mean, you got to tip their, your hat to them. They really haven't got any calls against them pass infraction-wise, and they've been holding the Blue Devils' passing game pretty well.
Bill McEwen's defense, one that will make him smile today. Tyler Kolka, Kendall Williams slipped coming out of that route. Made it a tough ball to get back to. It's going to be a vaunted defense if they can keep this level up mentally throughout the season for St. Xavier. As we approach now under halfway through this fourth quarter. This is a pretty short punt. Takes a Blue Devil hop.
Fox is going down at the 37-yard line. St. Xavier will take over. First and 10.
Blue Devil offense, nothing going for them there, so a quick in and out for both teams the last couple of drives.
The ground game is really what started what's been a prolific offensive day for the St. Xavier Cougars. Running the ball there was receiver DeQuavius Thompson, Rockford, Illinois native. Same hometown as our head men's basketball coach here, Josh Pickens. And same hometown as NBA champion Fred Van Vliet. They can just kind of wind this clock down now. But they've attacked so quickly today on the converse of that. That time a first down gain of 11. this is kind of also, you get back to last year for St. Xavier on the, we mentioned those losses. It's the opposite of what we saw in the beginning of the games for them starting out the season a year ago. That certainly has to be an emphasis in camp. Here's DeQuavius Thompson again. Once again, a nice long chunk on the ground.
Yeah, well, you see they could do it. The Blue Devils, looks like with time winding down, they're going to start this season in the losing column. But as you mentioned, the Cougars did last season, and they ended up finishing off one of the best ones they've ever had in quite some time, being ranked so high, the highest they've been since 2005. So it's not impossible. The Blue Devils, we've seen the glimpses of how good their offense can be. The defense has been making some good stops recently in the last couple of possessions.
Yeah, you know, we mentioned as a flag flies down at the 41. It's going to be a false start on St. Xavier. We mentioned how successful Mike Jimenez has been, 21st season, MSFAA Coach of the Year a season ago. But he said that ranking is our expectation level. It's not necessarily where we're starting out. It's the expectation level for where we will eventually be. And they would certainly like to live up to that ranking even higher. They have, fair to say, national championship expectations in Chicago. That's where they'll play their next couple of games. Their fans traveled well, but a 4-hour journey. They stayed at the Comfort Inn right down the street. Just talking to some of their trainers before the game. It was convenient for them. They look well rested today and looked well rested in the beginning of the game. Pirouetting his way down inside the 40 goes DeQuavius Thompson.
Thompson being utilized here more and more at the end of this game.
Starting to see some of those guys as we go deeper into the depth chart.
3rd down and 2.
Sets up 3rd and short. The Blue Devils, or at least I'd say critics from the outside looking in, expect for next week's game to be a fairly competitive one. Considering what both teams have added and lost in terms of LTU versus Wisconsin Lutheran. St. Xavier will be favored against Wisconsin Whitewater. Here is DeQuavius Thompson, another 1st down gain, and they continue to chew time off this 4th quarter clock. Just 2:40 remaining.
That's exactly their game plan right now. Just get the clock down to 0 and get out of here with a big first win of the season. Blue Devils, though, you got a lot to take from the game. A lot to learn. Once again, it is a measuring stick game for themselves. Just comparing, this is the number 5 squad. So getting up there is going to be a challenge, but one the Blue Devils definitely are embracing here.
Well, as DeQuavius Thompson scoots his way for a few more yards, we have another entertaining update from Chase Kaufman. So, Michigan has survived an Army fumble in overtime, and Michigan escapes. That Army offense, they're so methodical. I think I read last week they had something like a 9-minute drive for a touchdown. So it's just so difficult to score as many points as you would like to against them. And naturally, that can get pretty frustrating for anyone. So that's always a tough, upset-minded Army squad and an unconventional group to go up against. Wonder what Michigan fans will think about that one moving forward, though. Yeah.
Less than a minute now. Taking their sweet time, the Cougars, and
they'll go to the victory formation. Ben Mazurkovich getting some time in his college debut. Blue Devil faithful salutes their group. It was a better second half effort. They played considerably better in the second half. The takeaway is honestly scoreboard-wise, you won the second half 10-7. The line of scrimmage improved. That's what you're looking to build off of in the weeks moving forward. We'll have Wisconsin Lutheran next Saturday at noon for you right here on LTSN. Your home for Blue Devil football all season long. It was a pleasure to bring this one to you. Producer Kia Tyus, Chase Kaufman on the staff today as well. Jenna Skolsky, Denver Rokon, Chloe Godbold. And for Dylan Morello, I'm Jason Ross Jr. Our wonderful team saying have a wonderful rest of your college football Saturday. The final score from Southfield. The Cougars improved to 1-0 in a campaign with high expectations. 45-13 the final.